the Liverpool International Gothic Festival. We're here in the middle of Church Street. It is the shopper's paradise, and the Gothic Festival has a really interesting little corner of, well, a sanctuary really from the shops and the commercial sort of districts of Liverpool. It's a pop-up art studio. It's something that's not to be expected. It's nothing. There's nowhere in Liverpool city centre where you can find any art houses or places that are doing different things. And basically, it's a pop-up art studio whereby artists are at work, so it's not a gallery, it's not a finished product, it's in progress. So it's really interesting, and it's very Gothic, the fact that the pop-up art studio is here in the centre. I think for me, being here all week, the response that I've been getting from passers-by, even though 35,000 people pass down this street every single day, people feel a little bit unsure as to whether a space like this is for them. It's been really interesting getting the response from different people coming in and not really knowing what to expect. So inside the studio, when we go in a minute, there's all sorts of different pieces of work. We've got weaving, we've got paper making, we've got found objects, photography, and there's also been some performances early on in the week that were taking place in here. I'd like to introduce the two interns that have been working on the festival from Edge Hill University, and what they've been doing is sort of interacting more with the public and assisting the artists and the performers in various different tasks, but just getting involved in the festival and also using their own knowledge of the Gothic and bringing it to Liverpool and bringing it to the team. So we've got Kelly and Shannon over here. Do you think that when they see Gothic festival, do they immediately have their sort of preconceptions of what Gothic is? What have people been saying about what Gothic is, what their understanding of it is?
I think some people have, usually they put it down to wearing black, really dark colours, but I don't think it is that all of it is. I don't think some of it can be, in a sense, quite cheery as well as fear.
Yeah.
But then you get a thrill from the fear.
Yes.
So it's incorporating both those things together.
Yeah. Actually, coming from that, I know Shannon has written a few blogs on the website about that sort of contrast between the fascination with fear, and I think that's what the Gothic has. It has that kind of the draw in that people do love to be scared. They love that kind of tension. And as part of the festival, we've had ghost tours and film screenings, and the Gothic is about that sort of the macabre, the malign, and about fear, but also challenging boundaries. And the fact that the Gothic Festival is here in Liverpool is really important, because Liverpool as a city, its history, sort of has signified that the people from here have always pushed boundaries. They've always not always been on the side of the law, as it were, and so that's why I think that the Gothic Festival is relevant, and that's why we should have a Gothic Festival. It's not just about people wearing dark clothes and looking like a goth, that sort of subculture that most people do recognise, and they do refer to the Gothic. So let's go inside and have a look at some of the pieces of artwork and talk about them in a little bit more detail. Okay, I want to start with these sketches. I call them sketches. I actually contributed these to the festival. Very briefly, the story behind these goes way back to Zagreb in Croatia. They were found in a flea market that was basically the size of 3 football pitches, and inside this flea market were thousands of people just wandering around and kind of buying all sorts of things, from porn magazines to stolen chalices from churches to old photographs. And I noticed 3 shopping bags full of old pictures. I'd sort of realised that the person who was selling the images had no real connection with them because she just wanted to get rid of them. And if you look at the pictures, they are quite melancholic, they are quite sad. They come from a time where I think, you know, life was hard, but there's a great contrast between peasants, and you've got more sort of you know, high culture, like, you know, aristocrats, some of them. You've got images of funerals taking place, images of people on holiday, every day images of people working on farms and just being with their friends and having a laugh, you know. And when I brought these photographs home to London where I was living at the time, I didn't quite know what I was going to do with them, but I had a real sort of fascination with them, and I decided to stitch, because that's a part of my practice is traditional female-based craft skills, and I felt like it resonated with some of the characters within the images. But as I started to stitch, a lot of the characters and the objects and the items within the photograph started to fall away, and it brought a real melancholic sort of soul to them, and also a really sinister soul as well, especially with, you know, the children and the family scenes. There's this kind of idea of displacement as well, and these lost characters, lost faces. Where are these people from, and where were they? I mean, I sort of took some of the, if you have a little look here, like some of the images of the, you know, the family scenes. You got a mother and two children here. You got like an old grandma here. You got this lady who's, you know, she's sort of lost in a world with other characters that don't seem to have a relationship with her, but I think when I bring them together, they are very much sort of related. It's kind of this idea of the sublime of human nature, and we all come together, and that's what I liked about the photographs. The Gothic being this idea of change sort of resonates in these pictures, I think, because there are lots of areas in Liverpool that have been neglected, they've been left, but they've got an incredible history. I mean, like, Liverpool as a city has got an immense history, and obviously, you know, during like the Second World War, a lot of these sort of trophies of Liverpool's past were ruined, and this idea of urban decay, which resonates with the performance that has taken place at the bombed-out church. This idea that there are so many buildings in Liverpool that are being left, and yet there's so many brand new buildings that are being built, and these buildings are just, you know, they're being ignored, I think, and there's a sadness as well in them. But there's also this, I mean, the photographs themselves I find are so tactile, and they have a real soul, a real spirit, and yeah, I find them really, really interesting. What would you say? What would you think about them?
I agree, actually. I think they tell a story.
Yeah.
With them, I think they do tell a story, and like you can imagine what it would look like as to what it looks like now, which has a real interesting contrast with it as well, I think. So
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think they're really interesting and really good to look at.
Yeah.
I really like them.
What do you think, Bob?
From a photographer's point of view, I think they're fantastically shot, and I'm always quite, especially that one there, I'm always attracted to things that, because with some of these shots you're not entirely sure where they are or what they would have been, so like the shot of the tools, or that's some form of junkyard, but when you look at a cinema, and I know how that cinema is, and you think at one time that was just as popular as it is out there now, and now it's just full of echoes basically, isn't it? It's just it's full of ghosts, you know, if you believe in that kind of thing.
The studio helps people, or has helped people, to see Gothic in a completely different light. This is another piece of work, weaving. They're all actually linked very much so to this idea of kind of witchcraft, in a way, I think, and this kind of supernatural energy. It's very spiritual. is very spiritual, because the whole process is a spiritual process. It's very much a quiet and gentle process, and yet what these processes create is literally the fabric of life. These channels, they could almost be, you know, sort of a subterranean channels of electric wires that are underneath the city, but you never see them. And so for me, that's what kind of resonates with this piece of weaving. And this one reminds me of like a discarded snake skin, you know. So it's kind of it's a shell, but it's, if you look close, and it's very tactile, you know, you do want to touch it, just have that kind of sensory appeal. Okay, so these are some of the examples of Jan Rogerson's work. Jan's been looking at the idea of transgression, process, methodology, and I think that's what links all of the pieces in the studio, that there is a process, and the process is integral to the final piece. So we've got some paper making here. She's used some sort of, you know, macabre imagery, very sort of tactile, you know, and looking at images of old Liverpool. For the pop-up art studio, it was really important that we chose artists and artwork that did have that sensory appeal, because remember, you know, we're in the middle of Church Street. A lot of people, they don't generally sort of go into art galleries, they don't sort of connect with places and spaces like that. So Jan has been taking little snapshots, especially with some of her clay pieces just on the right there, of little kind of moments in time. It's all about transgression, transforming something into something else and pushing boundaries, and also, like I said before, producing something that sparks people's curiosity and a desire to ask questions. So, yes. Okay, so this sort of installation actually came about from a spell in an old book, and with the drawings, with the camera, with this sort of rectangular cupboard, with the empty picture frame, the string, the ginger, the basket, fabric and the spindle. It said that if you put all of these objects together in this way, they're quite specific instructions, that in the morning, if you left it overnight, in the morning you would find a baby in the basket. So with all of these like objects, you know, brought together in this fashion, I think it's really spooky, strange, Gothic.
People with white faces and a lot of black people.
Yeah, okay. Do you think Liverpool is a Gothic city?
I don't know. I think it's like a teenage kind of thing, isn't it? Seems to be like a Gothic.
My niece was a goth in her youth.
Yeah.
It's just a different style.
Yeah.
That's all.
I see. Do you think Liverpool is a Gothic city?
I don't know really. Yeah.
First thing that comes to my head is Tim Burton. That's it.
Tim Burton. Okay.
That's it.
Yeah.
Should we have 1 minute?
All right, there you go. Thank you.
Gothic. The first thing that comes to mind would be cathedrals for some reason. And not necessarily horror, but October.
Yes. Halloween. Have you heard of Gothic? Have you heard that word before? No?
Oh, Goths.
I have no idea what Gothic is.
Oh, good.
Really? That's good. When you think of Gothic, what do you think of?
Old churches with lots of detail, monsters, gargoyles.
So what's your name?
My name's Ben.
Ben, and this is your shop here in Barcelona Bar. And can you tell us a little bit what you think of Gothic, what it means to you?
I think Gothic is anything that has a sinister and glamorous edge. Something that comes from quite a dark place. And it sort of speaks of something that is somehow otherworldly, but part of this world, I think.
I don't know nothing about Gothic. I just know they are black, they are mysterious, they are human, and sensible.
And sensible.
Yeah.
Interesting. Thank you very much.